Love is everything. I mean, the world revolves around love.
The bar lights are low, the kind of warm amber glow that makes everything look like a memory. George Strait sits back in his chair, hat tilted just so, the faintest grin cutting through the calm. The interviewer leans in and says, "You've been singing about love and heartache for over 50 years. There must have been a few singers who could have made you forget the lyrics." George laughs, that slow, smooth drawl rolling out like a melody. "You know, there's truth in that," he says. "There are voices that hit different. Voices that make you stop mid-sentence and just listen. The kind that don't just sing the song, they live it. And yeah, I remember a few." He swirls the ice in his glass, thoughtful now. When you've been in country music as long as I have, you start to realize it's not just about talent. It's about presence, about walking on stage and making the whole place lean forward without saying a word. I've seen women do that, 6 of them to be exact, and everyone left a mark. He leans forward, eyes shining with that unmistakable cowboy mischief. They had it all, the tone, the grit, the grace. They made heartbreak sound like poetry, and joy sound like Sunday morning. I'd watch him perform and think, that's what music's supposed to feel like. He chuckles, shaking his head. Some of them I shared a stage with, some I only ever admired from a distance. But they all had that rare spark, the kind that could make a man forget where he was for 3.5 minutes. He grins, tipping his hat slightly. "You want names?" he says, that Texas drawl thickening just enough to tease. "Well, I can give you 6. 6 voices I'll never forget. And I'll tell you what, each one of them could have made the king of country miss his cue." 1. Reba McEntire. George smiles before the name even leaves his lips. "Reba," he says, drawing it out like a lyric he's sung 1,000 times. "Now that woman is pure country royalty. I don't care who you are or what you play. When Reba walks on stage, you pay attention." He leans back, tapping the edge of his glass. "I've known her for a long time. We came up in the same era, back when you still had to drive through 3 states just to get to your next show. She's one of those people who's been at the top of her game for 40 years and still acts like she's got something to prove. And that's why she's Reba." His grin widens, the admiration clear. "She's got that fire. That Oklahoma grit. I remember watching her rehearse once. Hair perfect, boots shining, laughing with the band 1 second, and nailing the most emotional chorus you ever heard the next. That's who she is. Part steel, part sunshine." He chuckles, shaking his head. "She can tell a story like nobody else. You listen to Reba sing about heartache, and you'd swear she's reading your diary. Then she'll turn around and hit you with a smile that says, 'Don't worry, honey, we'll survive this too.' She's got that balance, tough and tender, heartbreak and humor." George's tone softens. The truth is, Reba never needed the flash. She had presence, that voice, that confidence, that red hair under the spotlight. It's all pure command. She doesn't chase an audience. She invites them in. He grins again, that easy cowboy charm sliding back into place. "I've sung with a lot of folks, but I'll tell you what, standing next to Reba, you remember what country music's supposed to be about. Storytelling, soul, and a whole lot of heart." He tips his hat slightly, a gesture somewhere between respect and nostalgia. "She's the real deal. Always has been." 2. Dolly Parton. George's eyes light up like the mention of her name brings back an old favorite tune. "Dolly?" he says with a grin. "Now there's a one of one. You can try to describe her, but you're better off just letting her walk in and do the talking. And the singing." He chuckles, that slow Texas laugh. "I met her early on, back when she was already taking over the world one song at a time. What struck me wasn't the big hair or the rhinestones, it was how sharp she was. Brilliant, quick, funny. She'd have the whole room laughing, and 5 minutes later she'd hit a line so sincere it'd make your throat tighten." He pauses, thoughtful, Dolly's the kind of artist who can sing a line you've heard 100 times and still make it feel brand new. That's a gift. She doesn't just write songs, she builds them. Brick by brick, word by word. Every lyric's got a heartbeat and every note's got truth in it. He smiles, remembering. She came out of the Smoky Mountains with a voice like sunlight and a work ethic that could put a ranch hand to shame. And after all this time, she still hasn't lost an ounce of that spark. His tone softens. She's what I call the full picture. Heart, humor, and hustle. You can see how much she loves people. It's in her songs, in the way she treats everyone she meets. She can fill an arena, but she still sings like she's sitting beside you on a front porch. Then he laughs again, shaking his head. Every man in country music's learned a thing or two from Dolly, whether he admits it or not. She's proof that kindness and strength don't cancel each other out, and that the right song, sung by the right woman, can change the whole room. He tips his hat, eyes twinkling. Dolly Parton's not just a country singer. She's the heartbeat of the whole thing. Always was three. Shania Twain. George grins the second her name comes up, like he already knows the crowd reaction before he says it. Shania, he says, drawl stretching just enough to sound like a compliment. Now that's a woman who came along and changed the whole game. Country music was already shining, but she made it sparkle. He laughs softly. I remember when she first hit the charts. Everyone was talking about her. That voice, that confidence, those songs that made you tap your boot before you even realized it. She had that rare thing, crossover appeal without losing an ounce of country soul. You couldn't help but admire that he leans back, tapping a finger on the table like he's keeping rhythm with an invisible beat. What I always liked about Shania is that she knew exactly who she was. No apologies, no disguises. She wrote what she wanted to write, sang it how she wanted to sing it, and the whole world came to her. That's power. His tone grows thoughtful, respectful. She brought a little glam to the cowboy world, and I'll tell you, she earned every bit of it. But under all the glitter, she's a storyteller. You hear, "You're still the one," or "From this moment on," and you realize those songs come from the same place all the great ones do, straight from the heart. He smiles wider. And the thing is, Shania's not just style, she's substance. Smart, determined, one of the hardest workers in the business. You could tell she didn't just want to make hits, she wanted to make moments. And she did. Over and over again, George chuckles, eyes glinting with mischief. I'll tell you something. Every fella I know tried to pretend they didn't have that man, I feel like a woman, video burned into their memory. But we all did, he says with a wink. You couldn't help it. That's what charisma looks like. He tips his hat slightly, the grin still lingering. Shania Twain walked into country music like a spark, and she left a trail of light behind her. You can't ask for more than that. 4. Faith Hill. George smiles before he even speaks. Faith Hill, he says, rolling the name slow and smooth, like a melody he's known for years. Now, there's a voice that'll stop you cold. I remember the first time I heard her sing. I thought, that's how angels would sound if they were raised in Mississippi. He chuckles, leaning back in his chair. Faith's got that mix of power and polish you just can't fake. She can go big, she can go tender, she's got both gears, and she uses them like a pro. When she belts, it's like the whole sky opens up. And when she pulls back, well, that's when she really gets you. There's something about her softness that just lands right in the middle of your chest. He grins, eyes glinting with warmth. I've shared a few stages with Faith over the years, and I'll tell you, she's one of those people who doesn't just perform. She radiates. She walks out there, smiles, and every single person in the crowd feels like she's singing just for them. That's not something you can learn. That's something you're born with. His voice dips, thoughtful. She's got that rare balance, strong as steel, graceful as silk. You can hear it in the way she phrases a lyric. She'll sing a heartbreak song and somehow make it sound like hope. Not a lot of folks can do that. He laughs, shaking his head. And then there's that smile. You could light up half of Nashville with it. Faith's got this calm confidence that makes everyone around her better. She doesn't need to prove anything. She just is. George's tone softens, rich with admiration. In my book, Faith Hill represents the best of what country music can be. Elegant, emotional, and real. Every time she steps up to a microphone, it's like the genre itself stands a little taller. He grins, that cowboy charm returning. Yeah, Faith's the kind of artist who reminds you that country music doesn't have to be loud to be powerful, it just has to be honest. And she's as honest as they come five. Trisha Yearwood. George's smile widens the moment her name comes up. Trisha, he says, with a slow nod, like he's tasting the word before he speaks it again. Now, there's a voice that'll flat out stop time. You hear her sing, and you don't think about genre or charts. You just feel it. That's how good she is. He leans back, hat tilted just a little. I remember the first time I heard She's in Love with the Boy. It came on the radio when I was driving home from a show, and by the time it ended I thought, whoever that is, she's going to be around for a long, long while. And sure enough, she was. He chuckles softly. Trisha's got that natural storytelling thing, the kind you can't teach. You can hand her the simplest lyric, and she'll make it sound like it came straight out of her own life. That's a rare gift. She doesn't just sing the words, she paints them. His tone turns thoughtful, a little reverent. She's the kind of artist who can make a stadium feel like a front porch. You hear her voice, and there's comfort in it, like coming home after a long trip. It's warm, it's real, and it always hits true. George smiles, eyes softening. Trisha's got that steady grace about her. She's kind, humble, and always focused on the music. Never about flash, never about headlines, just heart and honesty. That's what country music's built on. He chuckles, tapping his glass. And let's not forget, she can cook, too. I've seen her on TV making biscuits while she's talking about life, and it's the same feeling you get from her songs. Pure, genuine, full of love. His voice lowers, rich with affection. Trisha Yearwood reminds me of why I fell in love with country music in the first place. She's timeless, the kind of artist whose songs you'll be humming 30 years from now without even realizing it. He grins again. Yeah, Trisha's the real deal. Always has been. 6. Carrie Underwood. George chuckles the moment her name comes up, like he's remembering the first time he saw her perform. Carrie, he says with an approving nod, now that's a powerhouse. She came into this business like a tornado in heels, and she hasn't slowed down since. He leans back, that trademark half-grin creeping in. I remember watching her on TV back in the American Idol days. She was young, wide-eyed, still figuring it all out. And even then, you could tell. She opened her mouth, hit that first note, and the whole country stopped what it was doing. That's how you know you're watching something special. He laughs, shaking his head. There's a difference between singing a song and owning it. Carrie owns everyone she touches. Whether it's a heartbreak ballad or a full-blown anthem, she sings like the world's on fire, and somehow makes you want to stand closer to the flames. His tone softens, thoughtful. What I admire most is her discipline. She's polished, focused, and relentless in the best way. Every performance, every note, every outfit, it's all crafted with care. You can tell she respects the stage, the band, and the fans. That's what being a pro looks like. He pauses, eyes gleaming with pride. Carrie represents the next generation, but she's got the soul of the classics. There's Patsy Cline in her phrasing, Reba in her fire, and her own brand of steel running through it all. That combination doesn't come around often. George smiles, tipping his hat slightly. She's got a voice that could shake the walls of the Grand Ole Opry and a heart that still feels like Oklahoma. And that's a beautiful thing. Because no matter how big she gets, She never forgets where she came from. He laughs quietly, finishing his drink. You know, he says, if country music's a long road, carries one of those headlights up ahead, bright, steady, and impossible to ignore. She makes you proud of where the genre's headed. He leans back, that easy cowboy charm settling in again. 6 incredible women, he says with a grin. Every one of them different, everyone unforgettable. I've shared stages with legends, sung duets with friends, and watched new stars rise. But these 6, they remind me why I started in the first place. He taps the table once, a rhythm only he can hear. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the song, and the women who can make you believe every single word.